Public Q&A presents AskReddit question. What is a computer skill everyone should know/learn? To just look around and try things. I get so many how do I do X in program Y questions where I have no clue offhand. So just poke around the UI until I find what they're looking for. Lots of programs have their own internal search bar, so you can find that one command out of 1,000. How to clean their computers, software and hardware. It's amazing how much some of the machines out there are struggling due to dust and unused software. I just dusted my PC for the first time in over a year. Now it doesn't sound like a jet when I play Skyrim. To actually read what the computer is saying to you instead of clicking on OK or cancel right away without thinking. It's an advice that my stepfather gave me when I was young, and it helped me a lot over the years. So my ex clicked yes on an "Are you sure you don't want to save?" assignment that she spent the past 3 hours doing. And no, autosave was not turned on. The first bit of advice I can remember my father giving me is don't keep clicking expecting that to make anything happen faster. Click once and wait. Basic Excel for budgeting. Piggybacking off of this. If you are a college grad transitioning into the working world, you should become fluent in Excel because it's something you'll use every day depending on the industry. Find a set of data online and play around with pivot tables, VLOOKUPs, index or matches, sum, ifs, etc. And try to do so with only the use of your keyboard, because if you can learn the shortcuts needed to navigate a workbook without the use of a mouse, you'll be probably 50% more efficient than your peers clicking around in a workbook. Actually, Excel is probably one of few things I learned at the university. Our professor used to take attendance and grading using a spreadsheet. Now I use it for grading my classes. Saves a ton of time. E.g. 2 quizzes worth 25%. Let's say one quiz has 67 questions, and the other has 48 questions, and a paper worth 25%, and final with 107 questions worth 40% plus 10% attendance 16 classes. Can you imagine doing this by hand for a couple of hundred students? LOL. I took a class for this. I remember nothing. Recognizing phishing attempts. Hell, recognizing any sort of incoming scam. I was pretty proud and surprised a few months ago. I got an email from a pretty legit looking address, but something about it felt fishy, so I forwarded it to our phishing department. Everything looked good, but the person it was from had literally never asked me to click on a link before, so it got my spidey senses going. The filter always catches that stuff, so I was really surprised that something like that got through, so I fully expected them to tell me it was legit. They replied back almost instantly that it was a test. They'd sent that email to around half of our 50,000 employees, spoofing the from to be a person in your reporting structure, and the email address was our company name with a hyphen and a word related to our field. And I was one of only 50 or so that actually forwarded it properly. Over 2,000 people clicked on the link, and another few hundred put their email and password in when prompted. Needless to say, we've had a lot of training on picking out phishing attempts since. Though it likely won't do any good. Those types of campaigns actually do help, if I recall correctly what I heard from a cyber guy I know. That's great to know they actually work. If you let me know your username and password, I will give AskReddit Gold onto your account for this comment. Yeah, my password is 7. Thank you. Of course. Oh man, this bit could have gone one step further with just you saying thank you, and then of course. Took me a second, but that would have been hilarious. We do lots of these tests. The worst one I've seen was on Valentine's Day, when they sent an email to people saying they had a Valentine from someone. People who clicked on it found out they did not have a Valentine, and 2 had to do an online phishing training. It was pretty brutal. I reported it as fish luckily. Being ugly finally paid off for a lot of people that day. You have a Valentine. Lies. Watch out for any unlabeled or labeled flash drives as well. If you find one, drop it off to your IT or security, whatever the protocol is. The best way for electronic espionage is to literally drop a flash drive for employees to hook up to their computers, and boom, you got a virus in. People are too curious. The best way for electronic espionage is to literally call the person and ask them for the info you need. Hello, I am the password inspector. You joke. Users are this dumb. Hi, I am from the InfoSec department of IT. We manage network and password security. We have seen that your username is associated with a few adult website visits. Can you please verify your username and password to make sure it's you, and no one has accessed your account illegitimately? I work for a major software firm. We do these tests as well, and failure rate is shockingly bad. My mom's clinic got decked because a receptionist clicked a link on an email. My mom was fuming. What do you mean by decked? If the entire clinic was brought to a halt or damaged in some way by a single spam email on a single device, then there are a lot bigger security issues than an uneducated employee. I bet it was one of those situations where IT asks for extra resources to implement better system security, and management decided that wasn't a priority because nothing has happened yet. I used to work in healthcare hardware, and it is unimaginable how many of our clients took this attitude to security. FFS, it's healthcare, don't fuck with the FDA and people's private info. Yes, even simple things like learning to recognize the top-level domain and the subdomain in a URL or email address before clicking anything will get you a long way. Sometimes I feel like I am the only thing stopping my boomer parents from literally giving all their money away. Also, why do they come up with big intricate stories as to why the scam email is legitimate as opposed to just thinking it's a scam? Some years ago, I was watching my mother input values into a web form. For each field, she went and moved her mouse over the new field she wanted to add info to and then click on it. After a few times of observing this behavior, I asked her if she knew that tabbing would move to the next field. She didn't. So tabbing. And Shift plus Tab to go back to the last field. It's so weird. I know many of the shortcuts discussed in this thread, but if someone asked me, for example, how to go back one field, I'd be stumped. My fingers just do it automatically. My fingers automatically furiously hit tab until I cycle back where I want to be. The wow targeting method. How to use incognito browser. Not only for porn, but to log into an account on a computer that isn't yours so the information isn't saved. Adding to that, if the computer is yours and you are inviting guests who need your computer often, you can set up a guest account for them. I personally use it for preserving my desktop. I personally use it to preserve my dignity. I use it for Christmas shopping as well if it's on a shared computer. Keeps the ads from targeting me based on what I was looking for and tipping off the wife. Not to mention to hide embarrassing searches such as how to spell embarrassing. How to advance search and reverse image search on Google. Tell me more. Advanced search example. Put quotes around your phrase. It gives you results of the exact phrase rather than 100,000 irrelevant related searches. Like this guy's. Large boobies. No, that will return large things and booby things. Large boobies will specifically return only boobies that are large. Edit. If you are looking only for women's boobies, you can use the minus sign to eliminate return man boobs. Like this. Large boobies man men. Why do I keep getting pictures of large birds? Type in large boobies birds. Windows key and Shift+S to create a new snip. Very handy to share just a bit of your screen, and quicker than screenshots. This is useful. I am always snipping stuff. Me too. I work at a circumcision office. I hope you don't do discounts, they're usually a rip-off. How to clean a laptop. If your 3-year-old laptop is reaching 94 degrees Celsius while watching Netflix, it is time to invest like 45 minutes to just clean out the dust. That gave me a much more significant performance increase than that time I downloaded extra RAM. I want to learn how to clean my laptop on the inside, but I am too scared to break something. There is too much dust in here to take it every time to the technician to clean it. What are your favorite tips on cleaning, however? Try looking for a YouTube video on how to disassemble your specific laptop. You might need 1 or 2 screwdrivers and small bowls to keep the screws. Try cleaning with soft brushes and a lot of care, never force anything. The most dust is always in the fan and everything that the air circulates through. Be especially careful with the thermal paste on the CPU, you might need to gently heat it up before. Try looking for cleaning advice for your specific laptop. And for the screws, don't tighten them too hard, especially when they are just screwed into the plastic. To add to this comment, compressed dry air is the best option for cleaning. Not all people have an air compressor, but we don't know who's looking. Got any helpful sources for this? My house is super dusty, and I should probably be cleaning my laptop every few weeks or so. Can of pressurized air, screwdriver, microfiber cloth. And some unused paintbrushes. Oh, and small bowls to keep the screws. Web address. Ctrl+Shift+V, paste stuff without formatting. Before I discovered this, I pasted stuff into Notepad for 15 years before pasting it somewhere else. Doesn't work in Excel for me, just tried. I paste, then hit Ctrl again to bring up the paste menu, V again to paste as values or without formatting. I do this to get rid of formulas all the time. Edit. I am perfectly cool with my method, and if you're going to suggest an alternative, please don't try to get me to use the mouse. I won't. It's bad. I was surprised to learn that there were people who didn't know Ctrl+F or CMD+F for Mac users was a thing. Extremely useful for finding a particular word or phrase in a large wall of text. I once had a coworker who didn't know this, and was surprised on how I could complete certain Excel lists so quickly or find information in them. She always zoomed them up to 300% and then read each column one by one. Rule 1 of Excel. If you're doing it manually, you're doing it wrongly. Except when you're given a PDF of a scanned image, and you need to turn it back into a functioning spreadsheet. You must have cruel and powerful enemies. Nope, just dumbass clients. What is the difference? Intent, probably. Why are they working in tents? I work from an office. Not an Excel function, but you could use OCR software to convert it back to a spreadsheet, and just check it over afterward for accuracy. Cries into a pile of PDFs of converted JPGs of scanned Xeroxes of microfiched copies of handwritten tables from the 70s. My number one rule for Excel is always assume there is a shortcut for this. I was once given an Excel sheet someone had made where they didn't know that pressing Alt plus Enter would create a line break within a cell. This dude had held down the fucking space bar until the cursor moved onto the next line in each cell for a document with a couple thousand entries. Anytime you viewed the sheet on a monitor with a different resolution, or zoomed in or out, everything would go out of alignment. I almost had a heart attack thinking about the astronomical amount of time it took to do that the wrong way. After being trained in my current job billing clerk, we had someone leave, and she'd been working there longer than I've been alive, I think. One of our accounts that she billed to had us keeping Excel sheets tracking PO numbers and how much money was left on them. The sheet had lines where you would put in the invoice number, the order number, and how much it was. Formula told you how much was then left on the PO. Super simple. I took over her responsibilities when she left. I discovered soon after that all the sheets on it were out of date by a few months, so the POS were reflecting the wrong amounts. Thought she just stopped caring since she was leaving. Nope. I discovered in one of the drawers of files that she had been printing out physical copies of the sheets and writing the information in by hand, and would go and copy everything back onto the Excel sheet whenever the account would ask how they were going. Why would someone make twice the work for themselves? People really getting paid for this. How to not only clear your history, but your cache. This is a requirement before my IT department attempt to resolve an issue. I had a batch script written to clear cache and Java cache that I would send to people to run before going to support for help on a particular web app that we used. I never had an issue, but some of the users would have one multiple times a week. I wrote the batch script because I was tired of doing it on their PCs. Edit. Here is the script. If everything is installed standard, it should run fine. Copy that into a text editor and save as a .bat. Then just double-click to run. Where I work, our IT department has created a shortcut on everyone's desktop that closes all internet browsers, clears cache and cookies, deletes temp files, and sets plugins back to default. I can't tell you how much headache that has saved me over the years. Ctrl plus F5 reloads the current page, ignoring cache, at least in Chrome. I see this in mainly older generations, but I see it at people my age too. People have no clue how to make a PowerPoint, change your home search engine, zoom in or zoom out on pages, how to copy-paste, how to print, and will even type Google in the Google search bar. These are basic skills everyone should have nowadays. Computer literacy is the right term. We are approaching a world where without those skills you are about as useful in the working world as somebody who is not literate, aka can't read. I'd say we're in that world already just about. If you don't have computer literacy, you're at a massive disadvantage in our modern world. It's scary when your mother calls you out on your own CSS. How to Google the solutions to your basic computer problems. I am the youngest person in my office by about 10 years, and everyone comes to me for IT advice. But all the expertise I have is knowing how to Google the solution, because I don't know shit about computers. Research is a skill many don't or can't be bothered to have. People will look for the easy way out for their problems. My family asks me to drive an hour each way to adjust landline phone volume. I swear to God. Do you enable them by going? I have a feeling if you stopped going they'd either learn real quick how to do it themselves, or learn real quick to get used to it. Depends. Some I try to stall but they end up whining about it for months, the problem stays. I manage all of my grandma's stuff, even the simple things like that or fixing the hour display on the DVD. They just won't do it. You're an engineer. It ends up making my visiting times fixing times instead. I'll manage actually complicated stuff no problem, but FFS, you don't need to be an engineer to adjust a landline's phone volume, it doesn't give you any advantage either. You just have to not be lazy and dig in the shitty menu with the shitty buttons. I only know how to Google unimportant stuff. Opens Google, types how many dimples are there on a golf ball. Between 300 and 500 usually, with the most common number of dimples being 392. I need a specific number for no reason whatsoever, so now I will dive deep into the history of golf balls, and waste what productive time I have. I will watch your career with great interest. We will watch his career with great interest. We will watch our career with great interest. I once served that role in my office. The other thing that will resolve most issues that no one does is a hard shutdown and reboot. My coworkers thought I was some sort of wizard, but all I did most of the time was a shutdown or reboot. Hello IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again? I usually say to reboot, and if there's still a problem then I'll check it out. It's not like I am going to rush in, examine a debug log and sort out some underlying issue between Excel and some 7-year-old computer running an older OS. Usually the reboot fixes it. If not, then running updates does. I think sometimes people underestimate the skills it takes to Google for solutions to problems. For example, I had to help someone remotely diagnose their problem. It was quite tricky finding out over the phone if their screen was frozen, B, their application was frozen, or C, their keyboard and mouse weren't working. You need a base level of skill with computers to diagnose what exactly is the issue. You then need a vocabulary to describe the issue in a way that leads to usable results on Google. You need some intuition to pick what solutions from the result might be relevant for you. And finally, it takes some skill to try and implement said solutions. A lot of this comes quite natural to people who feel comfortable around computers to the point where we barely recognize them as computer skills anymore. But they are, and a significant set of people don't have them. It's a bit like my dad and car skills. I can't really diagnose my problems beyond car won't start, and he'll look at an engine and have enough baseline knowledge of what a properly working engine looks like to see if something is very obviously not working properly, and try some fixes that his mechanic friend suggests he should try. This is huge. There's a threshold you cross when you become more experienced at doing something, where you start to understand how the concepts fit together even if you don't know the specifics of the situation. That lets you frame the current problem correctly and think of ways to solve it. Yeah, learning how to properly use a search engine is key. Should be taught in schools now. Put the rarest keywords first. Quotes return the exact phrase not relevant. Windows and V instead of Ctrl+V. It shows a history to previous copied text, so you can just copy various snippets in a row without having to switch back and forth to paste. Not a skill, just common sense. Microsoft is not screening your computer for viruses. If someone calls you because they detected a virus in your PC, it is a fucking lie. End the call on the spot, and if you are still curious if it may be real, call them back, search for the number on their official web page. Also, they won. Ask you to install shit to connect to your PC. They have a way to connect through a built-in feature in the operative system. TeamViewer or any other software is not their official software, they can do it without installing crap. Source. Used to work for their tech support. I couldn't believe people paying up to 4 times the official support fee if out of warranty, and then paying the MS fee. Or play around with them to waste their time. I have a Windows 7 VM for just this purpose. The last call I got went on for 90 minutes because I pretended to be dumb about everything. That was 2 years ago though. I wish they would call back. Are you on Microsoft Word and then realize you are typing in all caps? Highlight the text you want changed and press Shift plus F3. Control-Shift cycles through uppercase, lowercase, first letter capitalized. Backups. That you need different drives, that your backup drive shouldn't reside with your workaday drive, that cloud backup exists, and maybe you should use it, that drives fail. All the skills required to safeguard your data. Coworker lost a massive database inventory of his father's life's work as a major artist due to physical theft of hardware, and his only backup, a thumb drive, turned out corrupted beyond recovery. Control-Shift Escape brings up Task Manager immediately, unlike Control-Alt-Delete. Also on Chrome, if you accidentally close a tab, Control plus Shift plus T will reopen it for you. Continuing to press T would reopen every tab you've closed for that session. Nitpicking. CSE is just a quick shortcut to Task Manager. CAD sends an interrupt. So if you have a program hanging that is locking up the entire system, use CAD instead of CSE. Best way I've heard it put. CSE is a request to open Task Manager, CAD is an order. How to turn off the startup option on 99% of their programs. Your computer takes forever to start because you have 237 programs trying to boot in the background. Edit. Here's a quick video. Also turn off your computers daily, especially if they are covered in dust inside. Surfing the web and other things will build up junk files in your computer for various reasons. I scan mine every day, defrag weekly. Neither ever takes longer than a minute or two, unless I go a while without doing it. Edit 2. I have several old 1 TB HDDs I have for extra space. I am a student. Those I defrag because I constantly save, edit and delete files from there. Edit 3. Turn off background apps. Settings, privacy and security, background apps off. Final edit, do not defrag SSD's solid-state drives, as it will shorten the lifespan of them. They do not have the issues that HDD's hard disk drives do. If you have an HDD and are constantly adding, removing, editing and altering the files in it, it would be wise to defrag it from time to time. I have 2 that I use for schoolwork, pictures and other similar files which I am constantly utilizing, so I defrag often. I use my NVMe SSD for my games and applications so they run as fast as possible. When I say shut down, I mean reboot. Your computer will keep caches of data, broken processes, applications running in the background. For example, even after I close WebEx for school, it runs in the background and continues to use my mic. Not just creepy, but slows the computer even in the tiniest amount. If you have a million things running, your PC will be slower and might run hotter. Rebooting and scanning it will increase the speeds and smoothness of your PC. What you should do is scan and clean your system every day. I am pretty sure all OS come with applications for this as well as defragging, but I use iObit software for everything. There is a free version that I just like using, and I can keep everything under one convenient shortcut on my desktop UI. I use a custom desktop application as well because I hate cluttered desktops. I also physically clean my PC once a month. Compressed air and microfiber rags does the trick if you stay on top of it. YouTube is your friend if you have any questions. That's just where I am going to go and link you to anyways. It annoys me to no end when I am asked to work on someone's computer, reboot it, and Spotify of all things is loading at startup, among things like Zoom, and takes forever for me to close it. All Mac users. I have a handful of things at startup: a fan monitoring utility, Dropbox, OneDrive, an antivirus, and Paragon NTFS. All are more lightweight feeling at startup on a Mac than a single instance of Spotify. I intentionally turn off the reopen windows when logging back in checkbox on any computer I touch. It annoys me too, on my own computer. For some reason when I try to turn off Open at startup either within the Spotify app or on the dock it doesn't do anything though. Edit. Thanks for the suggestions so far, but this is on Mac so Task Manager doesn't exist, only force quit. Edit 2. Thought I had disabled it in Spotify, turns out I only minimized it. Should be resolved now. Also today I learned that Activity Monitor exists, sort of embarrassed I missed that one for 2+ years of Mac usage. On Mac it's System Preferences Users and Groups Login Items. Touch typing. Typing without looking at your keyboard. It vastly improves your experience in writing and drastically reduces your time in typing tasks. Edit. People have been asking for some resources to learn touch typing. This is curated from the comments below and my bookmarks. Keyboard practice letter by letter. Typing of the Dead, a typing game. Typing Club online typing classes web address. Typing competition game. Monkey Type clean site to practice typing. Type Racer typing competition game. Ratatype online typing tutor. Absolutely. And it's fun to amaze children by typing accurately with your eyes closed. I like to maintain eye contact with people whilst typing on the computer. I am a high school teacher, and when I do this students are often amazed. I don't do it to impress anyone, it's just the easiest and best way to do things. Similarly, typing using the number pad. Especially if you're putting many numbers into an Excel sheet. I actually bought a keyboard for my laptop, so that I would have a number pad, as well as a better overall typing experience. This is a problem for me, because my laptop, work computer, and home PC have all differently sized keyboards. Alt-Tab is your best friend if you want to do anything funny, or it is the quickest way to move from one application to another. Yes, one Excel spreadsheet open, one Reddit session open. When the boss comes by, Alt plus Tab makes it look like you were surfing Reddit, when everyone knows you were working on a spreadsheet. Can't have the whole office thinking you're some kind of nerd. How does one have fun with Alt-Tab? Imagine surfing net in a computer class and teacher looming by. Aha, I think you mean being sneaky. Being sneaky is fun. How to manage tabs and know when you don't need 50 of them open at once. If you think I bought 32 gigs of RAM for games, you're insane. As a software dev, this true, 150 is the correct number. And they are all Stack Overflow. Maybe one-man page to feel like a professional. And they are all the same. You've just forgot that you have them opened and open a new tab. But where else am I going to keep information on that thing I am supposed to be working on, but have been procrastinating on for a couple months? Reading and critical thought. These might not seem like computer-specific abilities, but in reality many people simply stop doing these as soon as they touch a computer. So it's more like the computer skill is being able to not turn off reading and critical thought. Most everyday computer challenges can be solved by properly reading all the information on the screen, and or applying a tiny bit of logical reasoning to what it tells you. Cries in help desk. Do I want to allow this app to make changes to my computer? I don't know, do you want to install this program or not? Honestly, everyone should learn about basic internet knowledge. By this I mean to never click on suspicious links, always fact-check information on social media, etc. If everyone knows about the stuff I said above, we would have far less people being scammed, less people believing in hoaxes, and less computers catching viruses. Reply vs reply all. I don't need a copy of your reaction emails when you're brown-nosing the boss. This isn't really a skill, but wish my mom would set aside a day to declutter her email. The worst I've done was a few hundred unread emails. Now my school and personal emails are below 50 unread. My mom keeps hers at a reasonable 1,000 plus. I have absolutely given up on staying on top of my emails. It's 99% junk anyway. I sometimes wake up with unsubscribe from mailing list energy. A few of those and you can significantly reduce junk mail. That's rookie numbers. My mom asked me to put in the address to a place we were going to on her GPS, and she had over 40k unread emails. WTF. I get all weird about unread emails, texts, etc. I can't have any. I borrowed a colleague's phone once to make a call whilst they drove, and he had about 2,000 unread emails and hundreds of unread texts and missed call alerts. Literally had me hyperventilating. The easiest way to exit Vim is to restart your computer. Edit. Thanks for the awards and upvotes. In extreme cases, cut the power to your entire building for 10 seconds. In even more extreme cases, the entire substation area. Once I was struggling to shut off Vim. Long story short, my nearest power station has surprisingly lax security. Step 1. Procure reasonably powerful EMP bomb. Come on, bro. You just need to escape, then press Q, then kickflip, drink 3 shots, run a marathon and done, you're out. Don't go around telling people it's more difficult than it actually is. And you didn't save any of your work. What do you think the kickflip is for? Anyone that needs to reference papers or articles should learn about stuff like Mendeley or Zotero. Fuck me, I didn't know till my bachelor thesis, and it pissed me off. Control, Alt, any arrow key to flip someone's screen. Mwahaha. Control, Alt, up key will put it back to normal. Another one is to go to the desktop and print screen, then save the screenshot. Minimize the taskbar and hide desktop icons in the right-click menu so their desktop is completely empty. Set your screenshot as the desktop background, so their desktop will look completely normal but they can't click on anything at all. Or if you want to go a notch further, flip the screenshot 180 degrees, and then flip the screen upside down so the desktop seems normal but the cursor is upside down and moving inverted. You guys are hateful. On iPhone, you can hold down the space bar and drag the cursor to where you want it, instead of trying to fat thumb it. Android keyboard has this too. Edit. It's called Board and was the standard keyboard on my phone. If it doesn't work, it might be because it's deactivated in the board settings or the Google gesture settings. Users of Reddit, please take heed. Turn IT off, turn it back on. Literally fixes 90% of application, operating system, networking, and server errors. 14 years of IT experience. This was the fix for most problems when I had to support users. Control-C, Control-V. And sometimes use that Control-X instead of C. And then Control-Z when you realize you Control-X the wrong thing. Typing without seeing the keyboard. You don't need to be fast, just type consistently without seeing screen and keyboard back and forth. Just focus on what are you typing on the screen. With 10 years in the IT field, I can wholeheartedly suggest the following. Some of these range from passive-aggressive to plain old aggressive. I apologize in advance. I am on my lunch and it's been quite a day. You know those shape-matching games that kids play? Web address. People should try one of those once in a while in their adult life, so their IT team doesn't get calls asking what port the HDMI cable or the Ethernet cable goes into. Guess what, genius? It's the hole that perfectly fits the cable you're holding. Applying critical thinking skills used everywhere else in life to your IT situation. There is no picture on the monitor. Let's check and see if it's both receiving power, does it turn on, and connected to the thing that makes the pictures appear, etc. Remembering one's password the same way they remember, for instance, how to drive, or eat, or breathe. Two-step authentication. It seems like a pain, but anywhere that offers it, use it. It's the difference between losing a 20-year-old Google account and not, because I tell you for free, these companies are not easy to convince to return your data once you've essentially given it away. Google is a thing, and error messages are eminently Google-able. Most IT people I know didn't learn to work in IT from degrees or doing courses. They just Googled problems as they ran into them, and then hey presto, they have that knowledge for the next time that issue comes up. But also, looping back to the critical thinking bit, most error messages give you some kind of hint as to how to fix the issue. Read before you panic. Turn it off and on again. Yes, a reboot is the most parroted thing that an IT department will tell you to do, but that's because it works. There is no such thing as speaking it or understanding computers, and if you think these are excuses for rudeness or willful ignorance, you're wrong. You are not going to inherit $20,000,000, that's not even your regional currency. Don't click that link. Learn to differentiate between the words someone you know would actually use, so that when they eventually get hacked, read. Give their password to a scammer, use such a poor password that it gets discovered, or in the rarest of the rare situation a database actually gets leaked, you can tell the difference. Browsing smart is infinitely more worthwhile than paying for an expensive antivirus program. Windows Defender is more than adequate for all but the most foolhardy of web users. Add to that an ad blocker like uBlock Origin, and you're well away. Don't carry your laptop by the effing screen. What kind of monster carries their laptop by the screen? We all know that could cause smudges. You haven't lived until you've worked at a college IT help desk and Big Billy Hamfist has punched his $2,000 MacBook screen when he got angry at MS Word. You know those shape-matching games that kids play? Web address. People should try one of those once in a while in their adult life, so their IT team doesn't get calls asking what port the HDMI cable or the Ethernet cable goes into. Guess what, genius? It's the hole that perfectly fits the cable you're holding. Yes. PC support here. For people that might get into a manager role someday. Your tech support hates doing moves from one desk to another. We'd rather troubleshoot actual problems. Plugs are different shapes and sizes for a reason. It's a task your worker can take 15 minutes to do on their own. Just tell your IT that the move occurred so we know it's in a different location. Rant over. Now I have to go do a move. I was once called into my boss's office. He wanted to know why his battery wasn't charged, his laptop wouldn't start, even while plugged. I am not the IT guy, but my office was next door. Simple diagnosis. Power connector wedged firmly into the Ethernet port. How? It takes talent. This was a bioinformatics software development company. My boss was the CEO. My program isn't working. Did it give you an error message in a little pop-up? Yeah, but I didn't read it. I just hit yes like I always do on pop-ups. Don't carry your laptop by the effing screen, I'm sorry. What sort of depraved pervert carries their laptop by the screen? Edit. Reddit is apparently full of such perverts. My hope has died, thank you. The number of people who think the monitor is the computer is disturbingly high. The number of times people called me, or its support telling me their PC didn't turn on is absurd. Hitting keyboard hard doesn't make you a pro at typing. If I type fast, does that make me a hacker? Never delete System 32. No, rename it System 64 so you can run 64-bit software. Don't forget to download more RAM while you're at it. Goddamn, learn to touch type. So many jobs, you're going to have to interact with a computer. Touch typing makes it faster and easier. I can't believe how many grown adults are hunting and pecking still. You can click anywhere on a YouTube video to pause it. Or K. Then J to skip back 10 seconds, L to skip forwards 10 seconds. Left and right arrows are skip back or forwards 5 seconds and comma, and period. Skip backwards or forwards a single frame. I only use K to pause YouTube videos nowadays. The spacebar just isn't reliable. Sometimes if you've adjusted the audio or clicked the full screen button, the browser focuses on that button and spacebar presses it instead of pausing. Speaking of pressing, F also brings up full screen. Here goes. Or #1 in general. How to Google your problems, and not be afraid to use this info to fix them yourself. This should be taught in school 100% more than virtually any other class. Or #1 technical skill. How operating systems function at a basic level, and how to basically use a terminal command prompt in Windows, macOS and Linux. Typing awesome on any YouTube video turns the bar rainbow. Edit. I should really say that this isn't good for people with epilepsy. Wow. You are still with us. Thanks for being such a nice person. As long as you are here, why not like this video and subscribe to our channel? Also, you can press the bell icon, so you won't miss any future uploads.